So hi everybody, I'm Annika Wilson. I'm the Graduate Recruitment Manager here at AECOM, or Early Careers across ANZ. So today I'm going to present along with Celine, who is one of our graduates, a graduate civil engineer with us. I'm going to do a bit of a general intro and then a few, tips around and information around the application process, and I'm going to sort of ask Celine about her experience as we go through. So myself, I've worked at AECOM. I'm in my 12th year, always working in the recruitment area, and probably for maybe about 6 or 7 years now, really focusing in on the early careers space. I love it. I love the process of matching enthusiastic, amazing students to really amazing career opportunities. Over to you, Celine.
Hi, I'm Celine. I'm a first-year graduate civil engineering in the highways team in Melbourne. I started off as an undergraduate in November 2020, and I continued as an undergrad until I started last month. I completed a Bachelor of Commerce and Engineering at Monash University, and I also went on exchange to KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, Sweden, and HEC Montreal in Canada.
Cool. Some great experience through your degree and obviously into your role with AECOM as an undergrad and grad. Sorry, it looks like I've cut up your nice picture of you, but everyone can see on screen, so that's that's okay. So a little bit about AECOM, and for those who are already on with the Q&A session, you would have obviously heard from Sydney, but we are a global infrastructure design consulting firm. We basically get involved in every kind of infrastructure project you could think of, and our purpose is basically to deliver a better world. So, partnering with our clients to make things better in our cities and communities across the globe. We operate in a few key markets, so it is such a big and complex organisation, so we've tried to group them into a few key markets, but there's literally hundreds of teams that sit within these. So we have buildings and places, so obviously looking at building and services engineers. We have our quantity surveyors that sit within that practice as well. There's some really unique little teams like fire engineering and acoustics, and some amazing ones in there. We have energy, so obviously lots of different parts within energy. As an organisation, we obviously are focused on some of our sustainability areas and looking at renewables more and more. Environment, I guess similarly, lots of focus around the sustainability parts, impact assessment and remediation, working with a lot of larger clients, perhaps in the resources space and more broadly. We have water and transport. They sit within our civil infrastructure area, and that's where Celine is part of that business. So many different teams in those two areas. Highways, bridges, we have rail, we have water infrastructure services, we have all sorts of things in there. Project management, we put national governments in, and that kind of fits across all of our different key markets. So really, providing a lot of support into government and local council as well as private clients as well. Fast facts or fun facts about us. So about 50,000 employees across the globe, work across I think it's like 180 different countries or something crazy like that. Almost all of the continents. We have been recognised as an ethical company. We get lots of different awards. I guess a lot of the ones that are, really speak to us is those that match up with our values, and we're a Fortune 500 company. I'm trying to talk a little bit fast because I'm conscious of our time, and so I'm trying to get some of the general info that you can also get on our website and things, and then get into some of the more grad specific stuff. What drives us? As mentioned, our values. Obviously, when looking for a role, you really do need to make sure that your values align to the organisation that you want to work for. So some of the things that we have as our big statement values: safeguard. We always say safety trumps everything. So ensuring all of our employees come to work safely, leave work safely, and everything in between. Putting lots of things in, safety from a practical perspective, out on site and things like that, but also from, mental health and having opportunity to, have access to, counselling or whatever it might be. Deliver obviously. We are a consulting firm and we want to deliver excellence to our clients. We have a huge client focus. We want to win the best projects and keep delivering on those. So obviously that's a huge one for us, and we want to employ people who also have an alignment for that. Innovation, and this is definitely a key area for graduates and students coming into the business. The business is genuinely open to hearing ideas from students, undergrads and grads. Like, we want to continue developing, and obviously fresh ideas coming off university. You can bring so much to the table, so that's a really important one. Sustain. So we've got a huge sustainability strategy, and that's really stepped it up a gear in the last probably year or two. We want to see net zero emissions. We want to focus on getting better outcomes for our communities, and so that's really important. Collaborate is huge. We can't deliver anything on our own. And one of the big draw cards, I suppose, for working for a larger organisation is the fact that you can work on multidisciplinary projects. So getting exposure to, perhaps what a rail engineer does, or working together with an environmental scientist or a landscape architect or a project manager. So getting one, to work on those projects, and two, to maybe understand where you might want to see your career move as well. And thrive. So I guess that piece is really about inclusion and diversity, bringing your whole self to work, being authentic. We obviously want to represent our communities and I guess a way of doing that is employing lots of different types of people with lots of different experiences, and so that's huge for us. So investing in our future, I think I probably already talked a little bit about this, but we do have a huge focus on equity, inclusion, diversity. We want to ensure that we are truly representing all of our community. We also have a huge focus on bringing in graduates and students into our business. So for our FY23 intake, we've got about 220 positions that we're looking or people that we're looking for. So having that sort of large number really shows our investment there in terms of grads. And then once you're on board, we have what's called a growing professional skills program that really sets you up as a consultant. So it doesn't matter if you're an engineer or a landscape architect or a quantity surveyor or many of the different areas that we recruit into, but the soft skills that you'll learn throughout this will really set you up into a well-rounded consultant. And of course, getting technical skills, in delivering that part will be worked on with your team directly. So Celine, I might throw this one over to you, and maybe you can just talk a little bit about your experience in the program at the moment and what you've been doing so far.
Yep, so we have a few programs, so sessions where we meet other grads, where we meet the managing directors, we can connect with them. We have 2 days, 2 full days of induction where we can learn more about the company. There are a few activities for us. We also have coffee catch-ups And within my team, the highways team, we actually have lunch every week so we can meet everyone else in the team. It encourages people to come back in the office so we can collaborate with them and learn from them. We also recently started Back to Basics, where we all the young professionals come together and we learn from industry directors the basics of what we're doing and how we can collaborate so that when we move further into our careers, we can use those connections and work better together on projects, on multidisciplinary projects.
Perfect, thanks Celine. Yeah, and one of the other things that the Connect committee, I was just thinking of then as well, so that's another kind of group that connects all of the early professionals, and there's lots of different events and things. So just what we took through, I guess, a snapshot of what our process looks like. It's probably fairly similar to others. So for us, if you are applying for a graduate or an undergraduate position, you would apply online, and there's a few basic questions in. It's not too extensive, but you do need to upload your resume, cover letter and most recent transcript. You're then invited to complete some testing through our partner. So at the moment we are partnering with a company called Capfinity, and they have a situational assessment, so sort of a strengths-based assessment. We'll talk a little bit more about that further along. If you're successful, there's normally a one-way video interview, possibly also option for a telephone conversation also. And then final step in the process, should you be successful, in most instances is an assessment centre, but also can be a face-to-face interview in some instances as well. So that's kind of just rough process. So I've just gone through and put a few sort of tips and tricks, and none of this is kind of super out of the world, but you know, it is sometimes the simplest of things that can make a difference. So you know, if you do have an option to do a cover letter, I would do it. You know, it's worth making a little bit of effort to showcase, you know, that extra few bits about you as a person. Tell us about, you know, why specifically AECOM. We know there's lots of different organisations are out there. We know lots of them are great, and we want to know why you want to work for us specifically. So really outlining that is great, and you know, sometimes, you know, using the advert as a bit of a guide can really help you as well. So mimicking, you know, what is written on the job description, and what obviously like what can you bring to the table in that regard. Personalizing the letter. So if you have met someone from the organisation, feel free to put that in the application somewhere. You might have come to an event, you might have met myself or Celine, feel free to do that. Obviously making sure you're putting the right organisation. So it's really funny, but we always get some every year. We always get some that have applied to some other company. So you know, those don't take the time. I mean, honestly, just apply for the companies that you really want to work for. That's probably my advice as well. But yeah, and like I say, I guess making it really personal about you. So what do you bring to the table for that particular role, and obviously being clear in terms of what locations you'd like to work in, sorry. And again, in regards to your resume, there's nothing crazy in here, but making sure you've got the right email address, no spelling mistakes, the right mobile number. Obviously you would hate to miss out just because we couldn't contact you for some reason, so just double checking those things. I would also always recommend putting a personal summary at the top of your resume, so very much like a shortened version of your cover letter. Sometimes it might be that recruiters will look at your resume first and then refer to a cover letter, so I'd sort of put a few tease things in there, a few keywords that might set you apart. Obviously we'll want to know your degree, the specifics about it. When are you actually going to be graduating. So if that's mid-year, put it down. If it's the end of the year, and so on and so forth. And obviously, you know, putting in some of your relevant experience, and thinking about the fact that you know, it doesn't all have to be industry experience, as long as you're highlighting the reasons that you think that work experience is going to help you. For example, as mentioned, we're a consulting firm, so you know, communication skills, client or you know, client experience skills or customer service skills is all very relevant. And again, obviously putting any extra things you can bring. A few things that can help you stand out. So, and this is also for, I guess, undergraduate roles as well, but you know, applying for those undergrad or internship roles in the first place, and trying to secure one of those will obviously really help in terms of landing a graduate role. And in some circumstances, like at AECOM, if you get an undergraduate role with us, there's a very high possibility that you're going to be offered or transitioned into the graduate role. Scholarships, there's lots of different scholarships out there, and they obviously, again, that's something else that will help you stand out. Volunteer work, student society. Are you president of a student society? That's huge. That's a massive amount of work and organisation. So those sorts of things really would help in terms of your standing out in your resume or application form. Networking events, obviously, like today, so you know, feel free to drop in there that you did take the time out to hear from us, and that you liked hearing about X or Y or whatever it might be. And there's lots of other events going on as well, so you know, go head to our page and find out a bit more. Celine, over to you. What did you do in the lead up to trying to gain, I guess, an undergrad or a graduate position, and maybe some of the things that you feel maybe helped you?
Yeah, so for me, I mentioned before that I went on exchange, and I definitely think that helped me a lot, because you gain a lot of transferable skills from that. You know, there's a lot of resilience that you have to go to a country that you don't speak the language of, and, you know, meet people without the support network that you have back at home. Following from that, I also had a lot of work experience in the industry, which allowed me to have a lot of good connections to move between different companies. And I also volunteered at RoboGirls, which tries to encourage school students, female students especially, to enter STEM fields. So trying to have a broad range of interests and passions, I think definitely helped me build up my network and build up my soft skills that are transferable to the workplace.
How are we going for time, Sam? Are we okay? We got a few more slides?
About a minute or so.
Okay, all right, we'll speed through the next section. So Capfinity is our assessment provider that we're using this year. I know that, Celine, when you came through, you used we had a different provider at that time, but you know, just talk us through your experience with that and how you I guess try to calm your nerves before doing an assessment.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the online assessments follow the similar process. So I think once you've gone through one, you can kind of work your way through the others. I think once you get into the rhythm, you can go through the assessment pretty easily. You just have to make sure that you read the questions properly and don't have any distractions, so you can put your best foot forward.
Perfect. And I'd say that's probably the same for one-way video interviews. So again, similar type of thing, both for assessments and one-way video interviews. There's heaps of practice ones online. Definitely recommend you doing that. You know, some of the tips, as Celine said, you know, find yourself a comfortable spot where you're not going to be interrupted, nice quiet environment, and so on. I'm really conscious of the time, so I think we're running out. So there might not be too much I can say around the interviews, but we might be able to post some of this stuff. I'm not sure. I'll chat to the possible crew. Assessment centres, they're all about trying to have fun, bring yourself, try not to be too nervous. We obviously want you to enjoy the experience, whether you get the role or not. We want you to have gained something from it, and you can take that forward, or hopefully you can just take that into the organisation with us. But you know, really, I guess giving yourself a big round of applause if you get to any of these steps. That they're huge numbers. We normally get sort of 5,000 or 6,000 applications each year. So you know, if you get to the next stage, it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to jump in. I'm
Leaving
afraid.
Thank you for having us. Our applications
right.
are open. Head to our site. QR codes there.
Feel free to drop Leslie's going to drop the link to your Grad Australia page into the chat in a second as well. So they'll be able to see all your open roles as well, which would be fantastic. But I do have to keep things moving, unfortunately. But thanks so much, Annika and Celine, for your time today.